Glad you could join us. Now, in our first story, the University of Ghana is set to roll out a modular arrangement for the upcoming 2021-2022 academic year. In what is being referred to as a double-track system, the university hopes to minimize the spread of the coronavirus disease among its students, lecturers, and other staff. This will also lessen the burden of accommodating students of the university. Now, per the new arrangement, freshmen and final year students will go to school for 6 weeks, starting from mid-January, whilst level 200 and 300 students will go between April and June under the same arrangements. We'll hear from the university management shortly. But first, here are some of the students who are kicking against the move. They spoke to my colleague, Manuel Kranting.
The arrangement has not been done because of COVID-19. At least if the university claims so, I think that is not the reality. Because unless, of course, I'm immune or I'm immortal, because I've been going around town, and unless the other people in town are also immortals or already immune to COVID-19, all activities in town are going on normally. It's almost like nothing is happening. How different are those communities from the University of Ghana? If you go to Accra, the markets are working. Everyone is just no masks, no social distancing whatsoever. And a community like the University of Ghana, with learned people like yourself and myself, are the ones who must be babysitted before we can go about our activities. I doubt that. The reason I see for what the university is doing is because of the accommodation deficit. And for me, this approach is very mediocre, because what they are doing is that they want to use a modular system where they are able to accommodate all level 400s and 100s who are available and want rooms. And then the next module would also come, that is 300s and 200s, and they are able to accommodate all of them. Question is that putting up infrastructure to accommodate the growing number of university students? It's absolutely no. So what happens is that after they've done this under the guise of COVID-19, and then it goes well per their definition, then they go ahead and institutionalize it. And you know the implication of this is going to cripple all other student activities other than academics. I dare say it would even cripple academic performances.
The university has been consistent since it was shut down on 15th March 2020. It has been consistent. There's been no gathering. So whole week activities were cancelled. Even congregation ceremonies were done online. And this is just, just extending the consistency of the university. So it's not like they've been doing some bits of the activities in disregard of COVID-19 protocols, and now are deciding just for what you say is accommodation issues to do this.
You see, I'm not accusing them of having, discarded the protocols. What I'm saying is that other communities are working. Not that I support disregard for protocols, but whereas there is that disregard and things are still going on normally, an institution that you have attested to have, regarded the protocols and worked with them, what has changed?
They just want to continue regarding them. David, the university just wants to continue regarding the protocols.
Well, that's very interesting. Now, what I understand is that the university intends to roll out an online system in the next academic year. And if indeed the idea is to just implement or continue with the standards that have been set out with regards to COVID, then, what stops it being rolled out for the entire student body from 100 to 400 if the whole idea is about COVID protocols? Because, in fact, they are not expecting the student to come and then go for lectures. They are supposed to come and be at their hostels and then use the facilities that are available on campus to just go about their studies. So if the idea is just about COVID-19, then it is quite discombobulating at the moment for me. You understand?
But if you're going to do everybody, all streams, then that meant more numbers.
Yes.
The university is just, dealing with the numbers. Have half of it now, and then have half of it now. That is, it's easier to deal with half of 40,000 than deal with 40,000 at a go.
Yes, definitely. It's easier to deal with half of that. But we need to ask ourselves that now, in the case that this whole COVID-19 issue didn't come up, what has been the university's preparation with regards to the whole accommodation crisis which we are facing in the university as it stands now? Now, we are very much aware of the fact that we had Free Senior High School, which has churned out perhaps double of the number of students that ordinarily would move to universities in an academic year. These numbers were expected even before COVID-19 came into being. The university's facilities with regards to accommodation remains the same. And so if there was no COVID-19, perhaps that is why a lot of the people believe that this whole idea of churning out a double track system is just a decoy.
Well, let me go to Ampon. We'll have to wrap it up. Ampon, quickly.
I find it quite absurd for people to think that it is not because of COVID-19 that all this is happening. Because number one, what occasioned the online teaching and learning system? It was COVID-19. If it hadn't been for COVID-19, we would have still been running our normal 4-stream lectures. So everything that has happened from 15th March 2020 has been all part of the university's grand agenda to mitigate the debilitating effects of COVID-19 on the student populace. So I find these arguments where we shift away from COVID-19 protocols to some kind of grand agenda by the university. I don't think it is fair to the university. But
now, for instance, what's wrong with now, for instance, solving the exposure to COVID-19 problem, then killing other bets, like solving accommodation, at least even if temporarily, and then also solving the internet connectivity challenges. You're doing all of these three things by just, implementing one modular system. I mean, what's wrong with that?
I think the university management should be quite proactive to be able to know when to be able to, quickly and abruptly solve some problems so that they can make up for. Because even if you look at the corporate environments, this COVID-19 time has been an advantage for a lot of people to, fine-tune their whole system and check how they do their things. So that is a grave concern. But putting the blame on the university management that, this is something they want to roll out permanently, I don't think it really makes sense for me. Because, look, we keep recording COVID cases each and every day. And if students are made to come and crowd on campus, we will record COVID cases on campus. And that's going to be very, very, very bad for us as a university. Being an academic, then somebody is going to take 30
seconds. 30 seconds.
Well, interesting. But, this is a big topic that we need to, look at how we can unravel the reality as to what exactly is the reason why this whole stream or this whole double track is coming to play. Now, there is a residential board member who claims that the reason is that people didn't have access to internet and all that. And so the university wants to accommodate everybody or these two levels so that they can have access to the facilities. The information that we are also gathering from the university's communication suggests that it's a matter of mitigating COVID-19 spread and all that. So now there seems to be two level of information that is coming to us to.
I'm only saying that they could run together.
It could run together, but Mano, if we're going to have 4 in a room, and the only difference that this whole module is going to bring about is that we are not going to go to class, but we are going to have the opportunity to still be on campus, move about, do our normal duties before in a room, have the access to go outside campus, come back inside. Unless they are putting up extra care to make sure that perhaps when students get back to campus, once you get back to campus, you are not going out anymore. Everything is going to be provided in the school. They are going to put in extra protocols to make sure that the village canteens, the night market, students can have access to food items so they can prepare on campus. There will be no extra visitations unless we're going to do something that is going to prevent the students from going out and mixing up with the people and coming back to meet their 4 in a room sitting. That is going to be a big problem.
It waits to be seen what happens. Thank you.
Now, Professor Nanaba Appiah-Amfo is Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana in charge of academics and students' affairs, and she joins us on Zoom with more on this. Thanks, Prof, for joining us. We understand you're doing this because of COVID-19, but what has been the level of engagement with stakeholders before arriving at this system?
Much, Daniel. We have indeed engaged with our major stakeholders, who are the students in this regard. And so before this time, there's been a series of meetings. Indeed, we started talking about this way back in August. There's a team that has been put in place to plan the reopening, which I chair. We engaged with our student leaders, the GRASAC and SRC president. We also had a meeting in this regard with the residents board, where beyond the SRC and GRASAC president, we have all the JCR presidents. And so all of this was done in August. Remember that this idea of the modular system was first communicated to the public in September, after the Business and Executive Committee approved this plan on 10th September. It was communicated through a circular by the registrar on 11th September. And we were originally hoping to start this in November, but we had to put that on hold when the president announced that we all are reopening in January. And even since that time, in November again, we had another meeting with student leaders, again, SRC GRASAC president, plus a few others. And earlier this week also, the Vice Chancellor led senior management to have a meeting with some student leaders. And I must say there were about at least 40 student leaders there. So we've had discussions, and it's been a while.
So since the beginning of this, these deliberations, what are the preparations that have been done to receive the students?
Yes, but I mean, you mentioned earlier on that we are doing this because of COVID-19. Let me clarify, yes, that is true. But also remember that when we had to shut down in March, we went online. We did an evaluation of that whole program, and we are taking lessons from that and trying to make things better in the coming academic year. One of the things that we discovered was that not everybody had access to internet, not everybody had access to the right technological gadgets. And so we had about 90% participation, and then we had to make room for about the 10% who couldn't participate to come back to campus to complete the semester. We don't want to find ourselves in a situation where we run a program and then we would have to do makeup for, even if it's a small group of students. And so allowing students to come back to campus, yes, we're going to have our lessons primarily online for practical and clinical lessons that will be done face-to-face, abiding by all the COVID-19 protocols. But then students will be on campus, they would have access to internet on campus, they would have access to computer laboratories on campus. And so everyone should have access.
So if I'm to understand this clearly, ma'am, you plan on accommodating the students, but these students will be in their dormitories and they'll be participating in classes electronically.
Well, we are opening up the campus to students. So students who wish to come into residence will come into residence. As I mentioned earlier on, our lessons will be primarily online. There will be practical sessions which will have to be arranged in the face-to-face mode. There will also be tutorials. I reckon that some of it will be online. It is possible that some of it too would be in the face-to-face mode. So that is what we anticipate.
Now, a question that has been raised is that how does the university intend to squeeze a semester's workload, 13 weeks of tutelage, into 6 weeks under this new model?
Okay, thank you. So What we are planning to do now is that normally the semester runs for 16 weeks, including examinations. This time around, and this is for the undergraduate students, we're going to have 9 weeks, 6 weeks of lessons teaching, a week of revision, and then 2 weeks of examinations. Remember that the University of Ghana since 1992 has actually been running a modular system. And what this means is that we run a course credit system. And so it is about contact hours. So what this means is that contact hours per week will be increased.
So this is
and Daniel, very quickly, let me add that the kind of modular system that we are seeking to run when school reopens is not something altogether new to the university. In the College of Humanities, in the Business School, in the School of Languages, in the School of Arts, we run such programs. It has been at the graduate level though. Also in the College of Education, we have such programs. So it's not something that is completely new to the university. However, it's the first time that we are applying this to undergraduate students.
So when we took our cameras and our microphones to campus, Prof, the most common sentiment that we found were students saying that it's because you cannot bridge the infrastructure deficit. And so we decided to put this question to you. What will be the direct response to this concern raised by students, Prof?
Well, I would like to say that this is not the primary reason why we are doing this. Allowing us to accommodate as many students as possible on campus for this academic year, it's only a side product of it, but that is not the primary objective. It's just a side product of it, because we have been planning. I mean, if we didn't have COVID-19, we're going to have all our 4 streams on, and we have been planning towards that. Yes, so I'm sure that the students are particularly concerned about accommodation. There has been efforts. Unfortunately, we haven't seen the full blossoming of these efforts yet. But also, students are aware that in the past months, we have made efforts to sort of formalize on-campus accommodation, so that the university has reached out to property owners around campus to try to formalize on-campus accommodation for students who will not have accommodation on campus. So there have been efforts on various fronts, and these efforts are continuing. And this is definitely not the primary reason why we're doing this.
If you're able to help us with the number of students the university has the capacity to house at any point in time, I'll be very grateful, Prof.
Yes, I think the numbers are around, it's in excess of 20,000, between 20 and 25,000 altogether, including the private hostels.
As against a student's population of north of 30,000, if my memory serves me well?
Yes, that's a student population of close to 50,000, more than 40,000.
More than 40,000?
Yes.
So there is a yawning gap there, Prof, that suggests that the students do have a legitimate concern when they say the university should be invested in that infrastructure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we all do accept that there is a gap there. It's something we accept, and it's something that the university has been working assiduously at resolving. And but I do say that that's not the primary reason why we are doing this. And in any case, I mean, we are doing this for this academic year. We are all hoping that now that we have vaccine, by the time the year is run out, we would have had a firm hold on COVID-19. And so we would have to go back to having our 4 streams back on campus. And so I don't think that it's right to say that the university is not doing anything at all to solve these challenges, particularly the accommodation challenges.
So, you
Remember
just raised
that when
the point.
we have students back on campus and we have to do in-person lectures, it would mean that we would have to have small groups of students, and that is going to really, apart from putting us all at risk, is going to wear out our lecturers as well.
You raised a very important point that I would love for you to emphasize. How long do you intend to carry out this, to roll out this modular system for the entire populace?
Well, the Business and Executive Committee has approved this for the coming academic year, which is the 2020-2021 academic year.
And beyond that, I had a suggestion made that if we do get a vaccine, this would end. I want to get some clarity on that.
Well, I mean, Daniel, you know that COVID-19 is an unfolding situation. It's very difficult for anybody to predict that 10 months down the line, this is how things are going to be. So we are all monitoring the situation. We would all wish for everything to come back to normal, i.e. having our students on campus, all 4 streams, our graduate students as well. Remember that this is this demands a lot of work on the part of our faculty and staff. So this is not something that anybody wants to be the norm. We will, as soon as things are favorable, return to normal.
So what you're suggesting is a possible extension beyond the 2020-2021 academic year, depending on the availability of a vaccine.
No, I cannot speak to what happens beyond this academic year, which is the 2020-2021 academic year. This is what the university has approved for this coming academic year. We are all operating within the not just the national, but also the global situation of this pandemic. And so we constantly review what we do in the light of global and national happenings. And then we plan for subsequent years.
Thank you very much.
We will all be very, very, very glad to return to normal as soon as it is possible.
Thank you very much, Professor Amfo. She's the Pro Vice Chancellor in charge of Academics and Students Affairs at the University of Ghana. Now, hours ago, Ghanaians bid 2020 adieu as they ushered in 2021. Places of worship were full to capacity as tens of thousands of Christians and Muslims gave thanks to God for the year's mercies and also sought providence for the incoming year. Maxwell Agbagba visited some churches here in Accra. Watch.
Members of the Royal House Chapel International singing praise songs to thank God for the gift of life. Many of them in white clothes to welcome the new year. In his end-of-year message, Apostle General of the Royal House Chapel International, Most Reverend Sam Kranchi Ankra, urged church members to keep a strong faith in Christ.
What did you achieve in 2020? What did you fail in? 2021.
2021.
You are saying, oh God, send me help, send me help, send me help, send me help. We are declaring that heaven is open. Yes. God is ready to hear your prayer and your cry. It's here. 2021 is here. We are here. It's here. It's here.
Thousands of worshippers are gathering here at the dome of the Royal House Chapel International. The ushers here would not allow any church member to enter without a face mask. You will not also be given access without going through this disinfection chamber here. All members who show up here will have to wash their hands also before they get access to the main building. I've been speaking to Bright Davis. He's an event expert, and he says COVID-19 had a heavy toll on services that he provided.
The upcoming year, which is 2021, everything's going to be better, and we hope they're for the best. 2021, I just hope for the best. Everyone should have peace. Ghana should be back to normal, and everything should be on point. That's what I hope for.
Has been the year of the Lord, when God has shown his children his supremacy and faithfulness. Above all, it drew many closer to God, because medicine couldn't help us, researchers couldn't help us, governments failed, and we knew the only source, he is the creator. So it drew a lot of people to God. For me, it is a unique year that will go down in history. Going on 2021, we expect God to lead us as he is done with us through 2020. And we know he is faithful.
I'm a health professional. I'm also an engineer by profession, and I'm a policy analyst. And for the year 2020, I would say the year has been a roller coaster. I am a health professional, so you can't take away the issue of COVID in this year. But we thank God so far. As a professional, I was a frontliner in the whole show. And the time came, we even have that feeling that although you have not laboratory been confirmed that you have it, but you have that sense of feeling and all those stuff. But God being so good, the year has been good to us because there's life and there is a lot that we are aspiring going into the new year.
Emma, where is your handkerchief? Come on.
The electrifying atmosphere at the Christ Temple of the International Central Gospel Church.
Well, this is one of the 3 viewing centers created here at the Christ Temple of the International Central Gospel Church. There's a bigger viewing center just meters away from where I'm standing. There are notices all over urging worshippers to ensure social distancing and also adhere to all the COVID-19 protocols.
Janet Tole, I'm from South Africa. Okay. Oh, 2020 has been, especially in my country, it's been quite a challenge. I'm excited, and especially coming to church on this day, which is actually, I think it's an amazing tradition for the Ghana community, and which is quite different from my country. So, yeah, I'm excited.
What would you have been doing in South Africa around this time?
So, at home right now, sad enough, there is it's lockdown, so we're back to lockdown again. Traditionally, we'll be out partying, but this year, being the year it's actually locked down. Everybody's home, lighting a candle and praying.
Founder of the International Central Gospel Church, Dr. Mensa Otable, has been ministering to the congregation here.
I don't know what 2021 will unload on the earth, but as for us, we will be fruitful. COVID may still be around, and it may still be wreaking some havoc, but as for us, we will be fruitful. Some businesses may fold up, and we may hear some news in the business world that will chill our hearts, but as for us, we will be fruitful. Somebody say, as for me, I will be fruitful. And though we don't have all the resources we need, as for us, we will be fruitful. And though people may try to pull us down, as for us, we will be fruitful. And though evil spirits and evil people may hate us, as for us, we will be fruitful. Though everybody may be complaining all around us, as for us, we will be fruitful.
At the Action Chapel International, founder Archbishop Duncan Williams led the congregation in prayers to welcome the new year.
Evil for you, your family, your loved ones. God has not planned any evil for our country and our people. I know there is a voice of evil, and there are predictions and prophecies and predictions that are going on by sorcerers, by diviners. Adula we cast hand. Let the voice of the Lord in the midst of it all be heard. For it is written, the voice of the Lord break the cedars of Lebanon, and the voice of the Lord is upon the waters. And it is written, it shall come to pass that in that day whosoever shall hear the voice of the Son of God shall live. I pray tonight at the gate of time that you, in the midst of all the voices out there, will hear the voice of the Lord. Come on, put your hands together and thank God for the voice of the Lord.
I am moving forward, I'm making progress. Everybody blow your trumpet.